guys, so this is gonna be my birth story. My little girl is right there sitting with me. So I wanted to quickly kind of do a shorter version of my birth and just answer the most common questions that I got on my Instagram first, and then for those of you guys that are actually interested in the whole spiel, then definitely continue. So the biggest question, the most common question that I got was if I had the epidural or if I did a natural labor. And so I did do all natural. I was at a birth center, I gave birth there, and they're more of let your body do it, listen to your body, no interventions. I didn't have an option for an epidural even if I wanted one. So I kind of went into it with a mindset of there's no such thing as an epidural, so I kind of have to do it natural. So yeah, I did all natural. Another big question was if I gave birth at the hospital or the birth center. I think that was kind of confusing. And if I had a water birth, because I posted this picture the day that I was in labor. And I feel like a lot of people thought I was either in labor or they thought I was at the spa or something. So it was kind of funny because the backstory of that, it was just literally I was on the bed, going through my contractions. The contraction would stop, I would take a picture, and then I'd be because I wanted to inform everybody. It's just a lot easier to kind of just post it somewhere where everyone can see, all my family, all my friends. But I'm I probably should have said I'm in labor, guys. I did labor half of the time outside of the tub, and then the other half, roughly, I labored in the tub. I also pushed and delivered our beautiful princess in the water, which was a really cool experience. So another question that's very interesting and very common is if I tore. And so typically most women would tear in their perineum area. If you know, you know. If you're curious, you can look it up. So I personally didn't tear in the perineum. I actually tore a little bit inside and then on the outside lip. So I just had a few stitches. I didn't do anything to prevent tearing. I know that there are perineal massages that your partner can do for you. I know that there's, what is it called, primrose capsules that you can, I think that's what they're called, that you can either ingest orally or stick it in there, and it kind of softens the cervix and stuff, I believe. But I didn't do any of that. I feel possibly the water could have helped kind of soften everything down there. You know how when you take a shower, when you swim, your skin gets softer. So that could have helped, and I really consciously tried my best not to over push because I was very afraid to tear. So I'm sure those kind of factors helped a little bit, I would imagine. Another question I had was who was in the room with me, and so it was me, obviously. My husband, and I had 2 midwives there. And the cool thing is that we were the only ones in the whole birth center. I was damn, this is cool. Okay, I can scream. No, I'm just kidding. And then another question, a common question, was how long the whole labor was from start to finish. So from the time my water broke to the time I delivered her, it was just shy under 7 hours. Okay, I think that's all the questions, the major questions that I got. I think the rest, if you guys have any questions or something, hopefully I'll answer it throughout the birth story. So if you're interested, definitely keep on watching. Well, hey cutie. Okay. Oh shit, I hope I put this in the same spot. Okay. So let's just start the day before labor. So the night before I went into labor, or the night before my contraction started and my water broke, around 10 p.m. I noticed more cramping down there, more pressure, even at some points more sharp pain. So I was okay, things are progressing, things are moving. At my 40-week appointment, I had her do a membrane sweep. So possibly that could have helped. I'm guessing, of course. Just, praying God, let me go into labor. I was so done with being pregnant. I feel once I hit my due date, every night I was God, please. Not fun going over your due date, even though I know due dates are just estimates, but still it's so I'm really happy that I fell asleep fine. I woke up around 5 something. Oh, I probably should say, okay, TMI is gonna get nasty. No, I'm just kidding. TMI, I'm sorry if something that I say grosses you out, but don't tell me I didn't warn you. I woke up, I want to say 5 something. I wasn't really looking at the time, wanting to go to the bathroom. And I'm kind of happy I did. Like, looking back now, I'm like, I was so fearful that I was going to poop while I was pushing. And it's a very legitimate fear for us pregnant ladies. It's a very legitimate fear. So I was happy that I was like, oh cool, I kind of did my deed before the labor. So I was like, okay, cool, this is good. I wash up, and as I'm getting out of the shower, something leaks out. It wasn't a gush, it wasn't, you know, it was just a little trickle. It didn't feel like I was peeing, it just felt like something leaked out. And, you know, I wasn't like shocked, I wasn't like, oh my goodness, but, you know, I woke up my husband, we're all just kind of staring at this pool of liquid, we're like, is that my water? And, you know, he's a lot of it, he's all sleepy and stuff, so I'm like, okay, just go back to bed, like, it might take, you know, hours before my contraction starts, or like before I really go into actually active labor. So I texted my midwife. At that point, my water broke at 6:09 a.m. Yeah, I know, very specific, but some things you just remember. I texted her, I let her know, and at that moment, like, I feel like contractions started right away. So I downloaded the contraction app, and I started timing my contractions. They were just a lot of cramping. For me, I had back labor, front labor, side labor, thin labor. I had it all. So I was like, to my midwife, I was like, I feel like I'm having contractions. I feel like I've had already 3. Like, they just feel like cramping, blah, 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 you know, explain to her. She's like, okay, cool. Like, you know, we'll check back in a few hours and blah, blah, blah. I went to the other room to not wake up my husband because I tried to fall back asleep, but because like I felt like I was already having contractions, and they were mild, but like I feel like I had to still like kind of make a noise through them, like just kind of, you know, and I just didn't want to bother my husband. So I want to say roughly maybe an hour goes by, and they're picking up, they're getting more intense, and I'm like, that's it, I can't do this on my own, like I need him, I had really bad back labor, and I was like, babe, like, can you please get like a towel, put it in hot water, and then, you know, press it against here for me. And then we upgraded a little bit to this guy. Yeah, I got some props for you guys. So yeah, upgraded to this fantastic buddy. I would highly recommend this if you have back labor. It helped me a tremendous amount. So, you know, whenever I would have a contraction, he would just press this like super hard on my lower back, and really helped. It helped for me. So I'm laboring, I'm counting my contractions. At this point, they're roughly every 5 minutes, 4 minutes, lasting for 30 seconds, sometimes 40 seconds. So I let my midwife know, I'm like, hey, I feel like they're picking up, and she gave me a call, and to just kind of talk to me on the phone and kind of listen to my listen to me having a contraction. And I couldn't talk through my contractions. Dennis would talk to me, like, I'm like, wait, and he would like try to touch my stomach, because it's interesting, because it gets so hard, and I'm like, don't touch me. And so my midwife listened to 2 contractions that I had on the phone. She was saying, awesome, it looks like labor is progressing really, really good. You know, you can either labor at home or you can come in. And for me, I was like, you know what, this is my first baby. I don't really know what to expect. I don't know when the right time is to go, or, you know, all that kind of shebang, like that, just like that fear of the unknown. And I'm like, you know what, like, I'm hesitant, like, I'm just gonna go in. I'm like, I'd rather go and just kind of ease my mind than wait at home and be like, should I go now? Definitely, like, if you feel like, man, these hurt, like, just go. I say, yes, we're gonna come. So she's like, okay, I'll get everything ready and you guys can come in 1 hour. And that was around 8 p.m. So I've been laboring for 2 hours already, and every hour felt like it was just kind of progressing, you know, more and more intense. So an hour goes by of me laboring again, and Dennis packs everything in the car and we head out. I was very nervous about the car ride just because I've heard that car contractions are really bad, possibly because of like the position that you're sitting in, or because like when you have a contraction, you just want to be still. Like for me at least, I know that there's women that like walk through their contractions. For me, I was like, hold on, I don't want to move, It just felt better just to kind of, you know. So in the car ride, you know, so one contraction in the car later, we're at the birth center, they come and meet me, they take me, she checks me, she checks how dilated I am. I'm 4 centimeters dilated. Good news. For me personally, I loved being on all fours. I feel like it just felt better. I would definitely recommend, don't be afraid to try different positions. You know, for you, laying down might be amazing. For somebody else, it would be horrible, but just try different positions. I know it's scary, especially when you're in you know, pain and you just don't want to move, but sometimes that little bit of movement can really make a difference. They stack up some pillows on the bed and I'm just kind of leaning against them. You know, I have maybe 4 or 5, maybe less, contractions on the bed, and then she asks if I want to go in the tub, and I'm like, hallelujah, let's go. In the bathtub we go. So that was nice. It kind of felt like this thing, but just like everywhere, and I was like, bye. Labored in the bathtub maybe for like 2 hours, I want to say. You know, contractions were very frequent and they were very painful. But one thing that my midwife told me, which for me personally, being a very mental and visual person, really made a big difference and just really helped me. And what she said was like, hey, like the contractions that you're feeling right now, this is the worst it's gonna get. It's not gonna get any more painful. Because I feel like for us, when we're going through the pain, it's like, oh man, like the next one is gonna be worse, the next one's gonna be more painful. But no, this is the worst it's gonna get. If I did that, if I went through that contraction, I can do it one more time. I can do it one more time. I can do it one more time. Like every contraction brings you closer and closer and closer to your beautiful baby. Being a very visual person and a very like mental and stuff, I love like affirmations and encouraging things and, you know, kind of envisioning and stuff. And so partly because I was very bored at home and partly because I just loved crafts, merged those two together, and I made myself a vision board, like a birth affirmation vision board. And the longer ones, they say, the pain I'm feeling cannot compare to the joy that's coming. I replace fear with faith. My body is strong and my God is stronger. And then when I reach the end of my strength, I've only found the beginning of His. And then just, she is worth it, with God I can, and it's not pain, it's progress. That's what I wanted to mention. Like, the contractions, you know, this is how painful, like, it's not gonna get any more painful than this. It's not pain, it's progress. Every contraction, every wave is getting you closer and closer and closer to pushing, and pushing gets you closer to having your baby. So that's just how I thought of it. I guess that was kind of, because I didn't have the epidural for pain management, I kind of used my brain for pain management, and I used my brain for pain management in that kind of way. It was nice because my midwife put that for me, like, because I forgot about it, you know, and she laid it out for me, so I was like, oh nice, like, because I knew what it said, so whenever I would look at it, it would like remind me. So it was helpful. It was really nice. They also gave me like a drink, because, you know, you're losing a lot of energy, so they gave me a drink to drink, and, you know, my husband was very good with being like, here, drink it, here, drink it. Bless his hands, he was rubbing my back with my back labor, and in the water, it's like even more friction. So labored some more in the bathtub. I want to say again, like maybe 2 hours. She checked me again for dilation, and at that point I was 8 centimeters dilated. So labor was progressing very well for me, and I was very excited. I don't understand how those girls like do their makeup and their hair and this and that. Like, I had so many plans of dressing cute and like doing a birth vlog and stuff, but that all went down the drain. Like, everything just kind of happened so fast. I just don't understand how they look so good, but I was a mess, a beautiful mess. Gotta self-love, you know. Crazy though. I don't know if any of you, you know, mamas that already gave birth, if you ever experienced this, definitely let me know. So I'm going through a contraction, right? and I'm trying my best to do low noises. I'm just like, you know, midwife is like, oh, do you need to push? Like, do you feel like you need to push? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, I can tell by your voice. What? It was so weird because I was having a contraction and just felt like extra pressure, like extra pressure. It's crazy. It's a really cool feeling, like after the fact. Like in the moment, yeah, it's painful, but after the fact, and when I think about it, I'm like, whoa, that's actually really cool that our bodies can do that, you know? So I'm laboring. Finally it was time to push. The whole time I was like on all kind of fours in the bathtub. So my midwife recommended a different position, so I was like, yeah, let's try it. Like maybe it would be better. Let's just try it for one contraction and see how it goes. So pushing. It's, I don't know, for me personally, it was just like there was already so much pressure down there that at some points I didn't even know when I was having a contraction. Honestly, like I didn't even know. I'm like, when is it starting now? I don't know, I can't tell. Like everyone's like, it's okay, you'll know. I'm like, so with a contraction lasting 30 seconds, I got probably like maybe 3-4 pushes in. So like in that 30 seconds of a contraction, it go like that, you know, like when you push. So maybe like 3-4 times. And then I would relax, you know, my midwives would tell me, hey, if the contraction stopped, relax, like don't over push. So I would relax, and as soon as I would relax, I had the worst back pain. Labor is no joke. And then also the very first time I would push, that would be the worst. And then the second time I would push, it was better. And then the third time I would push, it was better. And then I would release, and then back labor. And then again, okay, my contraction pushed the first time. Oh man, it felt like everything was ripping. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna tear, you know. So I pushed for 50 minutes, so just a little bit under an hour. And when her head was starting to crown, you know how they talk about like the ring of fire? I don't know if it was the ring of fire or whatever, but when her head was crowning, it was definitely like a burning sensation, you know, like when if you go like this, like really hard, and that's like, it like burns. It kind of felt like that, but only for maybe only for like 1 or 2 contractions, or like it wasn't that long. She's almost there and stuff. At that point, I was like, dude, I'm giving you all I got. I would just push as hard as I could, you know. At that point, I really didn't care if I tore. I wasn't even thinking about, oh, I don't want to tear. Like I was just like, let's get this baby out, you know. I would just find something to focus on, either my midwife or like that dot in the wall, you know, like get it, like just do it, you know. And her head came out, her body was easy, everything happened so fast. I feel like, you know, they put her on here and I'm like, and then they had me stand up and I'm like, what the flip? I feel like I only got to look at her when I was already laying down on the bed. So I personally didn't really have any like emotions. I didn't cry. I know Dennis cried a little bit, he had a tear, but I didn't cry. I just was like so shocked. And then it was time to deliver the placenta. So they had me lay on the bed and I delivered the placenta, which was like nothing. It was like nothing compared to birth or delivering her. My midwife, you know, you have a lot of blood clots there and stuff, and a lot of blood that comes out. So she tried to push out as much blood clots as she could, and that hurt. That hurt really bad. But I'm very thankful she did that, because coming home I had not even one blood clot coming out, maybe like one tiny one, but that's it. Like they stitched me up and then they let me have some skin to skin with Zara. And then they weighed her, so she weighed 6 pounds and 14 ounces. She was 19.5 inches long. Baby girl. They did like her footprint for me to keep. And then they had me go to the bathroom. Dun, dun, dun. Everything is so sore down there. You know, it's hard to walk. It's peeing, obviously it stings because of the stitches. It was definitely difficult to say. I feel like the first 2 weeks were very difficult for me. Breastfeeding was difficult, and just adjusting and stuff. It's not easy, but it gets better. That's that's the one biggest piece of advice. Like, it gets better. Honestly, it gets better. And I wanted to give up so many times with breastfeeding, like so many times. I'm like, dude, I'm done. But it gets better. It really does get better. And just, you know, you do it for them, and it's so worth it, you know. Hey, is it feeding time? Hey, is it feeding time? Look, say hi to the camera. Say hi. Oh, she's just such a cutie. Oh my goodness. But yeah, that was my birth story. Oh, one question that I got was if it took a while for us to get pregnant. So for Dennis and I, we weren't necessarily trying, you know. Oh, you tired? We weren't necessarily trying for like at least a year, you know, just to enjoy each other. And then we kind of just said, okay, if we're gonna have a baby, we're gonna have a baby. And you know, I honestly, like, the way I found out I was pregnant, I found out on Christmas, and I started to feel sick, and Dennis was like, oh, you should take a pregnancy test, like, randomly, and I'm like, I'm not pregnant, like, what are you talking about? But I was like, okay, fine, I'll just take it. So I took it, and I was pregnant. Dennis first knew that I was pregnant, I guess you can say, and then he also was like, oh, we're gonna have a girl first. I feel like we're gonna have a girl. So I guess husbands know, I don't know. Do they feel it somehow? I don't know. But but yeah, we're just so happy to be parents. It's so surreal sometimes. I feel like, is this even real life? I'm like, is this even my baby? Like, oh my god. But it's such a joy to have a baby, seriously. Of course there's hard moments, but it's all worth it. It's all worth it in the end. Guys, so that was my birth story. I hope you guys so if you guys have any other questions, I'd love to connect. You guys can definitely follow me on Instagram. You can send me a DM. Thanks for watching, guys, this long. Bye, Scuzzy, bye.